Hey guys, so people often tell me and also comment on this channel that you seem to be really on top of your finances, or you are so organized with your finances. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But I also want to say that I did not arrive at this last month, last year, or what have you. It has taken me a couple of years to come to a position, I should say, where I am comfortable with my finances and everything is not almost, it is all automated, but there's still a lot of things that I personally like to do manually. And in today's video, I am hoping to share a few tips with beginner budgeters or even experienced budgeters who are just looking for a different way to manage their money or stay on top of their money. So today's video, I'm going to be talking about how I am able to stay on top of my finances and my finances in general. So the first thing obviously is budgeting. And I know budgeting seems to have a negative connotation associated with it, but honestly, budgeting is not as bad as people make it out to be. Honestly, because for me, budgeting is all about telling my money where I want it to go and what I want it to do. Now, I have a system whereby I will be sharing with you some trackers that I use, and you can check out the trackers that I sell on my Etsy shop. That helped me to start off a simple plan and then use that plan and experiment a lot with different budgeting styles, and now I have found something that works for me. So every single month, I don't even have to do much. I now spend on a daily basis between 10 to half an hour looking at my finances, making sure everything is in order. And on the weekend, I will dedicate maybe an hour or two at most and look at where everything is going. Am I still on track with my plans, or am I off pitch and I need to course correct? And then on a quarterly basis, I literally do spend a whole 3 hours just looking at everything. Now, this 3 hours is between me checking my phone, me looking at my trackers, me watching TV, me stopping, standing, doing all of that, right? And then I also look at my finances on a 6-monthly basis and also on a yearly basis, looking at my annual trackers. So it might seem like too much, but for me, it's just the perfect amount. So with budgeting, I know, for example, with my mortgage, I tell my money, I need you to send to my mortgage provider £871.93. That's how much I need to pay for my mortgage for my home. That's why I budget, because I want, whenever my money comes in from all sources, that £871.93 of that goes to my mortgage lender. Then I also tell it, I want you to make sure that you pay my council tax of £143 to my local council. It sends it that way. So obviously I've set up direct debits with these companies. That's how I am able to make sure whenever I get paid, they go where they need to go. And also, I'm very strategic about when I actually send my money out. I'm one of the people that gets paid in the middle of the month. And normally, you would have people would set up their budget in such a way that the bills come out after they get paid. So you get paid in the middle of the month, so that you get paid on the 15th, and you say on the 16th you want your money to go to ABCD. I always make sure that my bills actually come out on the 1st of the month, purely because not all companies pay you in the middle of the month, and it's always like a faffle to start changing this there, changing that there. So I just work with, at the beginning of the month is when I instruct my money to go out to these various companies for either my mortgage lender or my utilities and stuff like that. So even though I get paid in the middle of the month, all my bills come out on in the first 5 days of the month. I prefer either the first or the second, just so that I know that everything that's left in my account after that is my money. I always used to joke with my friends that anything that has not been taken out by the 5th of the month is that company's problem, because I've already instructed my bank and also informed the company that you should take the money during this period. If they don't, Bob's your uncle, because I am not going to be the one to be, oh, you didn't take money, mate. That's just how I operate. So I have made sure that all of my bills come out between the 1st and the 5th of the month. So there's nothing. I think probably only my Spotify comes out like the 13th of the month. Maybe I should change that as well, but at the moment it's okay. It's just the one item that I have there, but it's also on my credit card, so it doesn't really bother me at all. But I want to say 95% of all of my bills come out on between the 1st and the 5th of the month. Now, the other thing that is very different for me is, whilst my bills come out between the 1st and the 5th of the month, my pay myself category, that is money going to my savings, that is money going to investing, comes out 2 days after I get paid. So if I say I get paid on the 15th, by the 17th, Vanguard gets its share for my ISA and my pension, and also my savings account gets its share as soon as I get paid. So I believe in the concept of paying myself first. So as soon as my check lands into my account, money goes to my investing, so for my future, money goes to my savings so that I have a cushion to support me for any emergencies that might come up, and then I just leave the money alone until the 1st, when all of my bills come out, and then after that. So in essence, I only work like to spend, I only spend money per se between the 6th and the, I want to say, the 14th of the month. The other times, everything is just automated. Not to say that I don't spend money other days, I do, but when I have to be conscious of my spending, it's during the times when I want money to go to my savings and when my bills have been paid. So that's the only time. So that's how I stay on top of my finances. Now, I said I also do daily review and weekly review, then quarterly review, monthly review, quarterly review, 6-monthly review, and annual review. And again. It seems like a lot, but it really isn't. Once you set up a system in place that works for you, it's not that complicated. So the first thing is budgeting. The second thing is implementing a review frequency or a review cycle. So on a daily basis, what I like to do is I will log into my bank accounts, see how much money I have, right? And then I will look at my budget and the current budget template that I'm using, that I bought on Etsy. Also, I have included the dates when I know my bills are going to come through. So I look at my budget tracker and see if there have been any expenditures in my account or on my credit card, because I use my credit card for everyday spending, and see if there's anything from there that I need to transfer into my tracker. Then when I do that, so open my bank account, how much money do I have? Second thing is go to my credit card, see what expenses have I put on the credit card that I need to transfer to my tracker. Then once I do that, I then look at what else can I expect to come out of my account that day. If there is nothing, then there's nothing, and that's the end. That's all I do every single day. On a weekly basis, normally on a Sunday, I will sit down and I will do the same thing that I do on a daily basis, which is look at how much money I have in my account, look at the expenses that I've put on the credit card that I need to clear, and I prefer to clear, send the money to clear the card on the Sunday, and so I will send that money towards the credit card company, and yes, this is how much I use. I would like to clear this balance. I'll pay off everything that I spend. I pay off. And this is also a warning to everybody who uses credit cards. It is good to use credit cards. Credit cards are both good and bad. Good in that if you are paying off everything that you spend, then you are doing the right thing. But if you're carrying a balance, well, I don't like paying interest at all. I am meticulous with my finances because I don't like paying interest. I'm not going to give credit card companies more money than they need, okay? What I spend is what I pay them back. So I don't like being charged interest. So that's the smart way of using a credit card. So I always just make sure that I pay off everything that I spend. I never, well, not to say never, I prefer not to spend more than what I have. So if I want to top up my fuel, so I want to top up my car with fuel and it's going to cost me £100, I need to be able to either have that £100 in my account today or that £100 in one of my savings to be able to make that transaction. If I cannot afford it, I'm not going to spend it, because that's how you get yourself into debt. If you can't afford it, don't spend it. But I also know, this is very privileged of me to say this, that sometimes you have no choice but to spend the money on the credit card. I just encourage you to plan ahead, one, and two, make sure to pay it off as quickly as possible, because we don't want to give credit card companies more money than they need. Okay, so that's another tip from my end. So on a weekend, on a Sunday especially, I clear my credit card balance. I look at all of the transactions, and I also look at the week ahead. What else do I have that is coming up that I need to make sure I have money for? So that's what I do. Then on a monthly basis, I look at everything, like everything, and that's why it takes me at least 3 hours, because I'm looking at my credit card statement. I'm looking at all the transactions that have gone on all my debit cards. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 current accounts, but I make sure that money from my rental properties, money from my employer goes into one account, then money from Etsy goes into my other account, and then money for my blog post also goes into the same account where my Etsy goes into. Then the other 2 current accounts, I send money actively to those accounts myself, as opposed to, you know, other companies sending their money there. So I kind of just have it set up this way. Like I have only 2 accounts where money goes in, and I budget off those 2 accounts. So that's what I do to stay on top of my money. But I want to also say, you don't have to be proficient with Excel or Google Sheets. You can use your phone if you want to, or you can just write it down. I've always been a pen and paper, can't even speak, pen and paper type of person, and I love to write things down. Like I write everything on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. I write exactly what is happening with my money. So I'm trying to see what else I wrote here, but yeah, so daily review of upcoming expenses of my accounts, of what I'm doing, weekly planning and adjustments. This is also something that's important. When I'm looking at my money on the Sunday, I am planning ahead, but I'm also adjusting because there might be a bill that is coming up. For example, this ended week, I had to pay for my car service. And what I did was I adjusted my budget. So I knew that I had over £100 in my car sinking fund. I moved money from my car sinking fund, put it into my current account, but it wasn't enough to cover the amount that I needed to pay for the service. Then I looked within my budget, where can I get money to be able to pay for this service? So I was able to find money in various categories, and I used that money. I knew that I was going to use that money for the car service. So this is what I'm talking about, planning ahead and also making adjustments where necessary. Then expense tracking, I've talked about this, and for me, expense tracking is looking at my credit card statements, my bank statements, and also receipts. I keep receipts, but I must say that for credit card statements, it's easier for me because I just go into my wallet on my Apple device, and then I just use because I've connected all my accounts there, and I just go through all of those expenditures that I've had for the month and see if there's anything that is still pending to be charged, and Bob's your uncle. So that's how I try to stay on top of my finances. And also on a monthly basis, I make sure to also track my net worth. It's something that is very important. So if you're not familiar with what net worth is, so net worth is your assets minus your liabilities. That number you're left with is your net worth. This is just a financial tool that you use to see where you are with your finances, and it's not a measure of your worth as a person, but just really a financial tool to give you an idea of how your finances are faring. So do you have more assets than liabilities, which means you have a positive net worth? But if you have more liabilities, things that you owe on, than assets, then you have a negative net worth. So this is just what I use it for. But on the last day of the month, so what I would do next week, when we close out January, I'm going to look, I try to look as soon as the markets open around 9 a.m. UK time. I will just go in, look at what my investments are doing, record those numbers, and there's Also, at the end of the day, when the markets close around, I try to look around 6 p.m. when the market has already closed and seeing where we end up, and that is how I track my net worth. So I always make sure to track my net worth as well, just to see the health of my personal finances. I hope you found this video useful, because for me, I have also learned a lot from other YouTubers, other people in my life, seeing how they budget and also try to create a budget that matches my needs. So this is just to say that I can share with you my budget and what it looks like. This is not to say you should copy exactly what I'm doing, because our life priorities are different. Our incomes are different. Our priorities are different. So I might be able to spend £1,000 on myself. You might be able to spend more than that or less than that, because our priorities in life are very, very different. So don't copy somebody's budgeting style to the letter. Copy their strategy. Understand how they do things, why they make the decisions that they make, and see if that is something that you can implement in your own life or not. If it's something that you can implement in your life, then by all means go for it. But if something that you cannot, don't try to be rigid with your budget by copying somebody else. Try to adjust somebody's budget to your personal needs. There are so many budgeting styles that you can employ, and for me personally, I try to follow the 50-30-20 budgeting strategy, and the 50% has to go to your needs, 30% to your wants, and then 20% to your savings or to your debt. I have actually swapped my wants and my savings and debt this way, purely because I want to be sending more towards my savings and my investments, towards my future, than what I am spending on, because I live a life of enjoyment. I say this to my friends all the time. I believe in living the life of enjoyment, but I don't have to stick my head in the sand by enjoying my life now only and not thinking about my future. I like to do both. I like to send money towards my future, but I also like to live in the moment. And there are certain things that are in the near future that I would like to enjoy. This is why I send 30% of whatever I make towards my income, towards my future and also my near future. So this could be my near future, say in April when I'm having a big trip. I'm saving for that so that I can enjoy my life in the now, but I'm also putting money into my ISA, into my pension, so that I have money for the future, right? So that is what I wanted to share with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.